Hello again. So I've been trying to play this Squier Telecaster that I got last year. Everything from here down is awesome. Everything from here up is awful. It won't stay in tune. The edge of the neck is horrific. Doesn't feel like it's finished at all. It feels like it just fell off the machine and they just didn't bother finishing it. So we've also got some uneven frets, and it jabs you and slices you open. There's horrible buzzing at the headstock. So what I decided to do, I was going to order a Fender Telecaster neck to put on this guitar because I'm going to end up replacing some other parts on it down the road. But in the meantime, what I decided to do, so if you saw my last video, I got a Mexican Stratocaster, and I absolutely love it. SSS, you know, it's a classic Stratocaster. This red Stratocaster is one that I've had for about 20 years now, and I just don't see myself playing it as often now that I have that other one. So what I'm going to do is, this neck is amazing. It's rosewood. I've played it for 20 years, and I absolutely love it. It's been naturally finished, you could say, with my hands. So I'm going to see if we can put this Strat neck on this Telecaster. Now, I don't think you can put a Telecaster neck on a Strat because it's rounded here, it's flat here, and that will prevent it from fitting. So we're going to take this neck off, and we're going to try and put it on this Telecaster and see what happens. In most of my videos, I end up taking the strings off of whatever instrument I'm working on, and I've realized that I never have talked about how I do that. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways that people will take strings off. But what I like to do is I'll loosen the head as much as I can. See, it just fell off. And then what I will do is I will grab either some wire cutters or some needle nose. And then I'll just stick it in here like this. And I'll snip it. There we go. I do that up here. And I do that with all the strings. So, and then you can just push it through. So I'm going to do that with the rest of these strings and take them off. We've been through this a few times before in other videos, but let's take the neck off. You just take your trusty screwdriver and you just hand loosen all the screws. Something I'd like to mention while we do this, when you are swapping necks, the neck pockets can be different. So the thickness of this pocket here, this piece of wood that separates the neck plate and the screws from the neck itself, the thicknesses can differ between instruments. So generally, what I would recommend if you're going to do a neck swap on a guitar is keep the screws with the guitar that it came off of. So for example, these screws should only be screwed back into this guitar. I wouldn't take these screws and put them in the Telecaster. And the reason for that is I don't want to accidentally screw through the neck, for example. So if this is thinner on another instrument and I use a screw that's too long, it could go through the fingerboard. And we absolutely don't want that. So as you can see, that neck is starting to come off. I think it's clear at this point. We're just unscrewing from the back of this pocket. Finish it off here. Okay, pull the plate off. Pull away the body. There we go. There's our neck, stamped 2002. I love this neck. Okay, let's take the neck off of the Telecaster, and then let's see if they line up, the holes. The Telecaster neck is off. If we compare them, this one's Indian Laurel, this one's Rosewood. This one is also 20 years old, so it's going to look different. I know there's some gunk on this, but that adds to my tone. No, I'm kidding. I'll probably clean that. So if you look, it looks like the frets line up, so the scale length should not cause us any problems. we can get these to stay on their side, I'd like to check the relative thickness between the two. They look, this one looks a little thicker. I always felt this neck was very comfortable, and I wonder what the radius is. Feels like it's 12, but who knows. And if we look at the back, nice finish. This gloss, I don't think it's from playing. I think it was factory finished that way. This one is hardly finished. So this one, Indonesia. This one, China, 2002 and 2020. Funny, the tuning machines look the same. Even though it's been 20 years, they look like they're the same. This looks a little longer than this. And then if we look at the holes, I did line them up. The holes line up. What's interesting is that it looks like somebody messed up on this neck at the factory. I don't know how the hell that happens right there, but it did. Also, the screws pulled out when there was about that much to go. It just pulled out. So I'm thinking that they cut the holes too deep in the body, or too wide in the body. So I'm a little worried about that. And if we look here, this is what I was talking about. So this screw came out of the Strat, and this screw came out of the Telecaster. And as you can see, this screw is longer on the Strat. So if I tried to use this screw on this neck, it might poke through, and that would be horrific. However, considering we're putting this neck on here, if these screws are too loose because of how much skinnier they are and the holes are a little too wide, I might try this, but we'll see. I guess we might as well compare the neck plates. Over 20-year difference here. So the one, which is which? The one on the right is from 2002. The one on the left is from 2020. They look like they're the same thickness. The one from 2002 looks like it's a little bit thinner, actually. And in the hand, it feels heavier. So imagine that. I think I'm going to put the 2002 neck plate on because, I don't know, because I feel like it. So let's see if we can fit the Strat neck in the body. I put the Strat neck in the neck pocket. It's a tight fit, but it does fit. The screw holes do line up. Now, this is to be expected. Because the end of this neck is rounded, you're going to have a little bit of a gap on either side. That doesn't bother me. That might bother some people, but it doesn't bother me. Obviously, you might get some dust in there, but let's take a zoom out here and take a look. I think that looks pretty sweet. Looks like a Telecaster Deluxe. Those had Strat-style headstocks. Also, this is a pre-CBS style headstock. It has a really big bump here and the really big ball here. I like this better than the modern Strat. So we're going to lube the nut up a little bit, and we're going to put the neck plate on. I don't know if you can see this, but the holes do line up. You can see the hole down in there on all four corners for the neck. So it does line up. We're going to screw this in and see how it looks. I got the neck attached. I had to use the original neck plate though because the screw holes didn't line up, but it's on there. I think it looks pretty good. It does have a gap, a slight gap here too, when I lined up the holes. There's also a slight gap here, and there's nothing I can do about that. It's about the way that the holes are lined up. So I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I did have a straight edge. Here it is. And so the best way I could think of to check if it was even was to kind of lay this here. And if it's flat between the fret and the pickup, then we are aligned, and it appears that we are. I'm going to try to string this up now. You know what strings we're using. We're going to use my last pack of Bullet 10s. I have more on the way. But let's throw these on and see how it is. I can't wait to see how this feels to play and how it sounds. Well, I got the neck attached. I got the strings on. It looks awesome. I absolutely love the way it looks. It still says Squire, so I'm not lying to anybody. take a look at it. It looks pretty cool. So let's plug it in and see how it sounds. Neck. Bridge. Alright, let's kick in some Overdrive. Now you may not realize this, but Jimmy Page used the Telecaster on Led Zeppelin 1, not a Les Paul. Thanks for going on this adventure with me. This guitar is pretty great now. I love this neck. It's a good neck. It plays really well. It feels really good. It stays in tune decently. Of course, this was a brand new pack of strings, so it was going to go out of tune a little bit after playing it. But it's nice to actually have a playable Telecaster now. Thanks again. I appreciate you watching. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.